Boom. All right, welcome to the 41st episode of the Revolutionary Code, where we bring the truth about how governmental politics actually works in every facet of human existence and how that affects our people, Black people here in America. I am your host, Brother Tamani M1 Donnie out of Houston, Texas. I am the direct revolutionary product of one Cardinal and Bayou Chewy out of the Shrines of the Black Madonna, and the indirect revolutionary product of one Albert B. Clegg Jr., African name Jeramogi Baby Ajiman, the father of liberation theology and the founder of the Shrines of the Black Madonna. I am also the founder of the Black Gold Nation movement. My co-host, the National Director of Political Strategy and Implementation for the Black Gold Nation movement and the chairman of LACE, Liberation Advocates for Community Empowerment, the intellectual gangster, corporate grassroots revolutionary, and master domino assassin from Shreveport, Louisiana, aka the Boot, Brother Craig B. Lee. Brother Craig, how you doing this evening?
I am Irie, just getting back in here from a very important community meeting to continue the discussion of this $48 million at the city of Shreveport federal government. So I went and participated to help my community that I grew up in tonight.
Well, amen, amen. I want to hear more about how that process works and about the preparation, if you will, of the community to ask for some dollars. So I need to have a conversation with you about that. Sounds, if nothing else, it sounds exciting. If nothing else. All right. Before we get started this evening, please give me a minute to tell you a little bit about the Black Gold Nation movement. Our goal, Brother Craig and I, what we're trying to do is put our people in a position by which we can own and control the space where we live. Why do we want to do that? We want to do that because whenever we allow other people to control the spaces where we live, we lose. We always find ourselves on the bottom in a losing position. Whenever we allow other people to control any aspect of the system where we live, the political system, the agricultural system, the educational system, the economic system, the security systems, whenever we allow other people to control any aspect of the systems where we live, we always find ourselves on the bottom. And whenever we allow people to control the entire system where we live, we always end up losing. So what we want to do is stop losing and stop being on the bottom. History has proven that when we are in control, not only do we do just fine, but we outperform other people heads and shoulders above. So we are not here, Brother Craig and I, we're not here just to inform or educate you. We're trying to get you to do something. And we're trying to get you to do something by informing you, educating you, motivating you, hopefully mobilizing and organizing you so that we can build together as a collective group, as a team, as a nation within this nation. Everything we say and everything we do is about bringing our people together so we can find the right people who are ready, willing, and able to build power for our people, period. At the end of the day, if we're not building power, if we're not moving forward to build power, if we're not moving the needle toward the acquisition of power, then we're simply wasting time that we do not have. Tonight's show title is The Increased Sophistication and Danger of Negro Intellectuals and Why All of Our Skinfolk Are Not Our Kinfolk. The Increased Sophistication and Danger of Negro Intellectuals and Why All of Our Skinfolk Are Not Our Kinfolk. Tonight's show is sponsored by Regeneration 180 through Generation Freedom School, the Black Gold Nation Movement's youth education model and program. With the Black Gold Nation Movement, we fully understand that we can't build anything without knowledgeable, capable, and willing youth. And Sister Jennifer Higgins, the Black Gold Nation's National Youth Education Division Director, is doing just that with her Critical Thinkers Club for young Black children ages 6 to 9 and 10 to 13 on Saturdays and Sundays. The purpose of the Critical Thinkers Club is to teach our children not only critical thinking skills, but how to use those skills moving forward. So to learn more about Regeneration 180, Regeneration 180's Freedom School, and the Critical Thinkers Club, please visit her website at www.regeneration180.org/teen-self-work. And I will place that link in the chat for everyone to see and or share with persons you know who might be interested. Okay, so with that, before we get started, before we jump into the show, let me give a brief comment. Our hearts and prayers go out to the family and friends of Brother William Harvey, who was found hung to death in a police interrogation room in Savannah, Georgia. Police walked out, they said they walked out, came back. and he was hanging from the ceiling. They said he used his shoestrings to hang himself. I have no idea how that's possible. You can use your shoestrings to hang yourself, but that's what happened. So our hearts and prayers go out to that brother's family, friends, and loved ones. All right, Brother Craig, we're going to get right into it. The increased sophistication and danger of Negro intellectuals and why all of our skinfolk are not our kinfolk. So just like we did last week, we're going to start this show with a brief video that sets up this.
There you go.
It sets up this show and what we're about to discuss. So give me a minute to share my screen, and then we will jump right into this.
They got to see this Negro.
Yeah, got to see. And jump right into this video. All right, give me a second to set this up. And
prepare yourself. Prepare yourself.
I am sharing my screen. Brother Craig, can you see the screen?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right, let's make sure we're starting from the very beginning and play. All right, now I don't know why this thing is not playing. Like it's moving when my mouse is moving. Let's try this. Let me refresh my screen. Maybe that'll get the video playing. All right, here we go. Come on, video.
So my next guest is a father of 2 teenage boys with a powerful message about teaching children that they are either oppressors or oppressed. Watch this from a school board meeting.
About critical race theory, which is pretty much going to be teaching kids how to hate each other, how to dislike each other. That's pretty much all Kevin said. It's pretty much what it's going to all come down to. You're going to deliberately teach kids, this white kid right here got it better than you because he white? You're going to purposely tell a white kid, oh, the black people are all down and suppressed. How do I have 2 medical degrees if I'm sitting here oppressed? Well, how did I get where I am right now if some white man kept me down? How am I now directing over folks that look just like you guys in this room right now? How? What kept me down? What oppressed me? I work for myself from off the streets to where I am right now. You going to sit here and tell me this lie of critical race theory?
Joining me now, Ty Smith, host of Cancel This with Ty Smith. Ty, great to have you with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, tell me, what that moment was like in there, and what was the response? Were people responding positively to what you had to say, or was there some pushback?
Well, no, the ones that were possibly like a part of this whole narrative that make it seem like black folks just can't do anything without getting some help from big brother government, they had nothing to say. So before I spoke, a lot of people were up there saying all this, the black people have this hard, we need to do more, we need to do this. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, wait a minute, the very people that they are talking about, that was me. I was that kid that they're describing right there, and I didn't see not one of their faces ever come to my neighborhood trying to help out. But they do all this talking on the outside. They march and they got their fist up and they saying we're with you. But when it comes down to getting with us personally, none of them are ever there. So I just got really just passionate about it because I'm thinking to myself, now look, I went beyond this stuff. I took time to sit there and like, wait a minute, something has to be beyond this. I got myself together by saying, okay, what can I do to make this my life better? As a kid, as a teenager. And I just started asking questions. And as I asked questions, people pointed me in the right directions. As I kept getting pointed in the right directions, I ended up becoming successful. And the issue that I'm having with this right now is most of the people that helped me was a mixture of black and white people. And I'm the one that decided to want to do something different with my life. I grew up around the crimes. Before I was 15 years old, I seen at least 15 people get killed. I'm not talking like, just something I heard. No, I'm talking about in front of my face. I grew up around the drugs. I grew up around the impoverished stuff. Me and my brother, when we were young, before we were even teenagers, we were going around town picking cans to turn it in for money so we can have something to eat. So when I'm hearing this stuff that people are crying about right now about the black people being oppressed because of that the white people or some white man or some white systemic racism thing, I call BS on it because I was so naive to that what they were saying that I actually was asking people legitimately like, hey, this systemic racism, where's it at? Like, where is the white man? Where is the system that's doing it? Because I like to go and talk to the people that's behind it. And when I do this, people usually respond like, oh man, it's everywhere. Well, since you are so sure that is everywhere. They point it out and show it to me, but nobody never can show it to me.
I just want to play one. It's great talking to you. This is another part of what you said the other night that I think people will want to hear. Watch this.
Martin Luther King said he wanted his kids to grow up in a world where they are judged by the contents of their what? Their character, not their skin. If they letting this stuff go on right now, it is absolutely doing the complete reverse of what he's doing. So when February comes, don't talk about Martin Luther King. When February comes, don't talk about Black History Month. Y'all gonna sit there and just pretty much pee on his grave with this nonsense?
You know, I'm thinking about you. You're the dad to 2 teenage boys, I think. You know, what's your message for them? And is this resonating with them, or do they hear a lot from their friends that's very different from what you're telling them?
Oh, geez, with my sons are 19 years old and 17 years old right now. To them, that's dad. What they seen right there, that's another walking, that's just another check mark. They see dad do this all the time. And to them, it's like, well, hey guys, my dad do this all the time. So what's new? Because my sons weren't raised with that type of mindset. I've never once sat down with my sons and go, okay, now look here, sons, these are white people, these are black people. No, my son's seen everybody, be it male or female, as just friends. I never had to have this conversation with them that they're pushing. So it just really enrages me with this, because I got nieces and nephews that's going to be in school and cousins that's going to be in school. And I do not want this nonsense being taught to them, because it's completely wrong. And that's why I said when this come around, don't talk about Martin Luther King. Don't talk about nothing that Martin Luther King said or did, because critical race theory is actually doing the reverse of that. It's making what Martin Luther King did and what he fought for, what he died for, meaningless.
I don't think anybody could say it better than that. Ty Smith, cancel this on Cities 92.9. I really appreciate you coming by. I hope you'll join us again. I thought,
absolutely.
Everybody was just so interested in what you had to say at that meeting, and I think you got people thinking. Thank you, Ty.
All right. Got a few questions per the video. All right. So the first one is, of course, this concept that we talked about last week, and of course we're going to get into it briefly this week. Critical race theory. So let us know, Brother Craig, what is critical race theory?
Well, it damn sure ain't nothing what he's talking about.
That's right.
and again, like we discussed last week, the academics who coined this term back in the 80s, they did a poor job of branding the concept, because it opens you up for all of this. But the critical race theory is a concept of explaining the impact of white supremacy and race within all of the various systems that we encounter. The legal system, law enforcement, judicial, corporate, public sector, private sector, all of these particular systems that regulate our lives. And so it came out of critical legal study that sought to talk about these same issues from a general standpoint without being specific to racism. And that was started in the 70s in Ivy League law schools. And so the critical race theory, one of the originators of this, Black law professor who used to teach at Harvard, he came up with the actual title, critical race theory, to be more specific about how critical legal studies area that dealt with the institutional factors really impacted African people, and how racism impacted people of color. And so the pushback is coming because now the Republican Party, the plutocrats who represent that institution of governmental politics, they refuse to yield any more ground to the plutocrats from the Democratic side who are pushing that in this system.
Okay, hold on, I got a lag here. All right, so am I back yet?
I see you pause
All right. I can see where the screen is frozen. Can you see me, Craig?
No, I can't. I see you pause. I can hear you though.
Okay. I'm gonna go on. I don't know. Yeah, you frozen on my end too. But if you can hear me, I'm keep going. So the next question you've already answered, which is why white people are so upset. So you've already answered about Skinfolk and now Kinfolk.
Okay. All right. Now I can hear you now. Say it again.
Okay. So tonight's show title is the increased sophistication and danger of Negro intellectuals and why all of our Skinfolk are not our Kinfolk. To understand what we mean in this movement, when we say Negro intellectuals, you have to know, of course, where we're coming from. So at the Black Gold Nation, we do not believe that all melanated people are the same.
That's right.
We believe that being Black is not the same as being melanated.
That's
so
right.
we're going to run through the 6 factions of African descendants, so everybody will be.
I lost you again, Brother T.
Okay, so what was the last thing you heard?
We were about to run through the 6 factions.
Okay, cool. So the 6 factions, of course, have 2 categories: Black and Negro. What is the difference between the Black category and the Negro category?
So first off, Black is not melanation.
Yep.
It's not your skin complexion. Black is a state of mind. So that is very important to focus on. So Black is a state of mind of African descendants who are focused on the liberation, empowerment, and advancement of African descendants throughout the world, period. If you're not committed to that, you're not Black. That means you're Negro. So you got 2 factions of Black folks: grassroots Black people, melanated grassroots Black people. And those are, good, hardworking people, African descendants who are about the business of liberating, empowering, and advancing our people. Although they don't have a lot of the skills that we need to do that in terms of articulating these issues, they are committed to that cause. And then you have melanated grassroots hybrids. These are Black folks who got skills. That's most of us on this call, basically all of us on this call. We are the ones who are connected to the grassroots, and we believe in the liberation, empowerment, and advancement of our people. But the caveat is we have skills, expertise, education, experiences that can navigate within the public and the private sector to bring all of these things that are necessary to the table to help change public policy, create corporate structures, and things like that. So those are your 2 factions of Black folks. And then under the Negro side, and so you can understand, a Negro is a melanated creation, a melanated cellular creation, byproduct of Eurocentric thought, Eurocentric oppression, Eurocentric chattel slavery, where they still roll with Eurocentric identity. And within that, you have melanated bourgeoisie Negroes. That's your upper echelon, your doctors, your lawyers, those entities who are the power brokers typically in the Black community. And roughly 99% of those entities are enemies of the state. 1% of them can be converted to be brought over to the melanated grassroots hybrid side of the equation on the Black side. Then you have melanated pseudo bourgeoisie Negroes. These are the entities who are challenging the bourgeoisie for their leadership and influence in Black America or African American America. And then you have the melanated grassroots Negro. These people are very similar to melanated grassroots Black folks, with one caveat: they're not committed to doing any work to helping to liberate, empower, and advance our people. But they're good people. They just go to work, mind their business, and they just roll with the status quo.
Right.
That's our number one target that we can focus on converting. And lastly, we have melanated savage Negroes. These are the entities who are creating the mayhem. These are the entities who are striving to be like white folks and bougies, but they're not connected to the intelligentsia, but they are the ones who are committing the hardcore crimes, the murders, and all of that. And you have about 1 to possibly 5% of them who can be converted. And most of them are, those entities are the ones that we're going to have to really deal with.
Right, right. I'm assuming you can hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you already.
Okay, cool. All right. So it's very important that, of course, we understand that all of these people who have melanin are not on the same page and are not the same people, because we do and we operate, we do differently and we operate differently. Our perspectives, our motivations, our goals are different.
Exactly.
And of course, how we see the world is definitely different. So how would you classify the brother in the video and why?
He is a melanated pseudo bourgeoisie Negro. And he falls into that category, number one, because he damn sure is not bourgeoisie Negro, because his pedigree, he talked, and we don't know if what he's saying is true, that because it's kind of suspicious to say you got 2 medical degrees.
Right.
That's kind of a strange thing. I've never heard that. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's improbable. And then he looks to be very young.
Very.
So
yeah.
you got 2 children who are 19, 17, and you got 2 medical degrees. That's almost impossible, because to go through 4 years of undergrad, 4 years of med school, 4 years of residency just to be a regular doctor, that's 12 years.
Right.
You're typically coming out of college at the age, if you're on track, coming in at the age of 17, 18, you're coming out 21, 22 years old. And so 12 years puts you, in a general sense, at the age of 30, 33, 34 years old.
Right.
And if you're specializing, that's another 4 years of specialty in residency. So now to go back and get a whole nother medical degree, that don't, okay. So, but that's a whole nother story. But he said he's from the street, so that takes him out of the bourgeoisie category, because these are your so-called elite Negroes and whatnot. So he's, from a pedigree standpoint, he doesn't fall in there. And so he is akin to Candace Owens, and he's talking about his Negro elitism. I call it the so-called exceptional Negro syndrome.
Right.
And so he's talking about that, and he's strictly focused on Eurocentric individualism. I, my, me.
That's right.
Versus us, I, we. So we know you can't be focused on having a black mindset, because if you got a black mindset, again, you're talking about the liberation, empowerment, and advancement of African descendants worldwide. So that's an Afrocentric philosophical concept of us, our, and we. The Eurocentric philosophical concept of individualism is I, my, me.
Right.
So the premise is, since I got 2 medical degrees, there can't be any racism.
It's you Negroes.
Because you Negroes just don't want to work hard.
That's right.
So that's like saying, I made it to the NBA. And if I made it to the NBA, you should be able to make it to the NBA. If I made it to the NFL, you should be able to make it to the NFL too. Because I made it and you didn't. And it's one of the most asinine concepts, but that is a concept, and I want people to write this term down because it is a real term that the crackers have helped shape and fashion. And it's called the exceptional Negro. And they use this very strategically to get you into believing that there can be no white supremacy and racism because you got a couple of Negroes who've navigated the system. And he's not telling you how he's done it yet, because there's information that he's leaving out. And you can search for this guy online and you can't find a Wikipedia or anything that lays out who he really is. But what we do know, he is a Negro spin master for the Republican Party, along with Candace Owens and some of the other ones. So that's why he is a melanated pseudo Negro.
Right. Okay. And we often see melanated people like this young brother. They confuse and or conflate personal or individual success with equal access and opportunity for the group or for the class or for the race. How is it that so many of our people miss the reality of systemic or systematic racism and confuse that personal success with organized oppression of a group?
Because they lack the first three pillars of the 6 pillars of empowerment. They lack spirituality, they lack organic right culture, and they lack education. And so without having those 3 pillars of empowerment, your mind is already programmed and indoctrinated within the Eurocentric individualism. And again, like Dr. Wade Noble says, as it relates to the definition of power, the ability to control, to create reality, to define reality, and have others respond to your definition as if it were their own. So what he's talking about is a Eurocentric concept called meritocracy, right? I pulled myself up by my goddamn big bootstraps. Ain't nobody helped me, goddammit. I gave birth to myself, and it wasn't no sperm and no womb. It wasn't no mom and no daddy. I did it. I created my goddamn stuff.
That's right.
I educated myself. I pulled myself up. Nobody helped me, goddammit. And it's asinine. But this is the reality of a spiritually and culturally bankrupt individual. Because if I had to debate him, I would just ask him basic ass questions. Are you saying that the concept of racism never existed? And if so, if you're telling me that, how in the world did this concept of chattel slavery exist for 315 from 1555 to 1865, 310 years? How are you saying that didn't happen? You know, so these are basic questions. So this cat, and this is why sometimes I wish I could dig Martin Luther King's grave, punch his ass throat, because his words are being used. His words have been weaponized to now impact us in 2021. Those dumbass words that Martin Luther King spoke in 1963 while trying to pacify white folks are being used by some of, David Duke has used those goddamn words. George Bush has used those goddamn words. And it's a damn shame. And though he tried to atone for that before he died, when you put foolishness like that into the universe, man, it's gonna come back on you.
Yeah, and in his defense, I guess they use certain words because King most certainly had opposing words to that, but they choose what they use.
It doesn't matter. We're in a war. Your damn enemy ain't gonna use the word.
Right.
Like we want to say, why won't you give the whole king? Why won't you give they're gonna use the king that's gonna benefit their perspective.
That's right.
We're in a goddamn war. Like, what don't we get about this? The Negro is just, man, it's a peculiar ass creature, goddamn.
I'm glad you mentioned that we are in a war because I want you to briefly explain that and go into it. You have said in our personal conversations with the information that you send me that we are in a spiritual / cultural and political war, correct?
Well, it's really all of the 6 pillars of empowerment. I did say spiritual, cultural, and political, but it's all.
It's all 6.
Educational, economic, socioeconomic, and political. It's all of those 6 pillars. We're in that type of a war on all fronts. Yes.
Define war.
So war. Oh man, this is
right.
So,
keep it simple. Keep it simple.
This is a conflict. This is a conflict, and that conflict can be physical or it can be mental. It can be physical or mental, and it can be both. And in this case, it's actually both.
Yeah.
And it is a fight for your mind, fight for your body on all of those fronts. And it involves the capture or death of your mind or your physical body. If I had to define war, that it would be the permanent fight for your mind or your body or your spirit, your soul. And it's fought on those six fronts.
So if it is a permanent fight, that means that there is no end.
No, there's no end until the Creator.
That's right.
Has gotten to the point of changing the mind and the spirit of the Caucasian.
That's right.
And until that happens, look, Bob Marley says it best in his great song, War. Until the philosophy, all one race superior and another
That's right.
inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned, there's a war. And until the basic human rights are equally guaranteed to all without regard to race, there's a war.
Yeah.
And until that day, the dream of lasting peace, world citizenship, and the rule of international morality will remain but a fleeting illusion to be pursued but never attained. There's a war. War in the east, war in the west.
War down south, yeah.
War. And until that day, goddammit, the African continent shall not know peace. We Africans will fight. Goddammit, we find it necessary. And we know we shall win as we are confident in the goddamn victory.
And on that note, God bless you and good night. Okay. All right. You are, if you missed the beginning of the show, you are listening to the Revolutionary Code, where we bring the truth about how governmental politics actually works in every facet of human existence and how that affects our people in America. Tonight's show is our 41st episode, and it's titled "The Increased Sophistication and Danger of Negro Intellectuals and Why All of Our Skinfolk Are Not Our Kinfolk." My name is Tamani Mwandani. I'm the founder of the Black Owned Nation Movement, and my co-host is Brother Craig B. Lee, who is our National Director of Political Strategy and Implementation. Okay, Brother Craig, next question. The increased sophistication and danger of Negro intellectuals. Help us understand, and you touched on this briefly, and I don't know if you completely answered it, but I'm gonna ask anyway since it's on my list. Help us understand what's happening between the Democrats and the Republicans as to the games they are playing with melanated people who look like us, but are not down for us or our cause. So what kind of games are the Democrats and the Republicans playing with people, melanated people who look like us, but aren't black like us?
So let's take the number one culprit in the pimp game, and that's the Democratic Party. So the Democrats and the Republicans are both the same. They just have a different tactical concept of pimping the people. And so the Democratic plutocrats, their game is based on this whole thing of, as they call it, liberalism. And liberalism says everything is good. Homosexuality is good, pedophilia is good, transgenderism is good, murder is goddamn good. Hell, he just did it because he had a bad day. You know, everything is goddamn go. All right. So but there are really capitalists who are controlling that narrative. But they play the game on the liberal side that everything is good and we want to help everybody, in, which is all hogwash. Now, underneath that umbrella, there's another faction who despises capitalism. And so they're pushing a socialistic, communistic agenda. All this is going on, and Negroes who don't understand what capitalism is, socialism or communism, they just ride in the wave because we got to get the big bad white dude. And although the white dude that they're rolling with is one and the same with the white dude that they hate, they can't never figure it out. So they're getting this. This is the faction that pimps the majority of our folks. All right, that's the Democratic pimp gang. On the flip side, you got the Republican pimp gang. And typically they would have, some intellectual Negroes who, well, let me go back. Historically, the Republican Party was the party of Negroes because of the whole Abraham Lincoln Emancipation Proclamation, 13, 14, 15 Amendment. Most melanated African descendants were Republicans. Before Franklin Delano Roosevelt in the 1930s and before JFK. The Negroes started to switch in the 30s with the, as we talked about with the plutocracy video, Brother Tamani, when FDR ushered in the New Deal.
Yep.
This is what brought in Social Security and a lot of your governmental programs and a lot of jobs. And it had just continued with JFK. And that's when JFK was the real big force that recruited Negroes to switch.
Right.
So historically, our people were Republicans. And so as we now move into the new age Republicans who were basically who are the Dixiecrats of the yesteryear, these individuals are saying, look, we typically have individuals like Armstrong Williams, Thomas Sowell, people like that.
Yep.
They're kind of sort of intellectual.
Yeah.
So they're going to talk about their capitalism agenda, which at the core of capitalism is our Afrocentric economic philosophy of free enterprise. We created.
That's right.
Africans are the original marketers and salespeople of the planet. And so white folks, Adam Smith, which is one of the great capitalistic architects, they took this concept of free enterprise and they wrapped it with white supremacy and racism. So although capitalism is a flawed and evil system, inside of it is a powerful system that deals with our thing, right? That deals with our thing, a free enterprise.
Okay.
So you can't totally abandon it.
Right.
What the Republicans are now doing, they're tired of yielding market share and ground to the Democratic plutocrats. So they recruited a new pool of Negroes like Candace Owens, this guy Todd Smith. It's a lot of them.
Yep.
And they give their ass checks.
Yep.
Just like the Democrats give checks to Negroes.
That's right.
They're giving checks to these Republican spin masters, and they going in the paint. And some of them are very articulate, like Candace Owens, the preacher Jesse, whatever his name. He's one of the more ignorant, stupid ones. But these cats, like Todd Smith, Candace Owens, and others, it's damn near easy for them to win a lot of their debates.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they hit on the Democrats, they're speaking truth.
Yeah. The proof is in the pudding. It's right there. Yeah.
But when they get to the reason why, way they look, they blame it all on the Democrats. They don't blame it on the philosophy, the system, and the game of capitalistic white supremacy racism. Because then you have to now indict both parties.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is the game that is really, really being played. And without spirituality and right culture, man, it's just too complex for even the above average person to figure this out. It's just very, very complex. And we have to do our job, and I'll do my job until I die, of breaking this down and showing the physical reality that a grassroots hybrid who loves his people, who is about the business of the liberation, advancement, and empowerment of his people can leverage money, status, and materialism, become a multimillionaire billionaire, and simultaneously help liberate his people. Because unfortunately, what most grassroots people don't understand, you can't do a goddamn thing in a capitalistic system without capital.
That's right. You ain't got no money.
You can talk all the foolishness you want to.
Yep.
As they were doing tonight, and they were talking tonight, and money is on the table, and they still wasn't talking about the goddamn money. They don't even know to talk about it. So that's where it's at.
So why is the existence of these people so dangerous? The Candace Owens, Thomas Sowell, this young brother, why are they so dangerous for us?
Oh, because they're creating more chaos and confusion.
Exactly.
See, the Negroes already
confused. Yeah.
So they create more chaos and confusion. See, because the basic answer to the two-party system is to create a third party that we control.
Yep.
But the Negro is so confused and so ignorant about the process that when they start hitting it truthfully on democratic policies, the Negro so damn dumb, he starts to roll with the Republican agenda. And it's like, yo, both of them are pimping you.
Yeah.
But since the Democrats have done most of the pimping and the white folks in the Republican Party have basically stood on the sidelines and not ever courted the Negro voter, it's like they can now come in and make it seem like, hey man, like Trump said the first time he ran, they've been pimping y'all for years.
What do you have to lose?
What did you got to lose? That's all Trump had to say. Because he was telling the truth that they've been pimping.
Sure.
He wasn't telling them that we're going to be pimping too.
Right. And it's unfortunate that what these people don't seem to realize, maybe they just don't care, is that regardless of what party you roll with, the majority of your people, the people on the grassroots level, they're not going to be taken care of. They're going to be further exploited and oppressed because none of these parties are trying to move that particular group forward.
Exactly. See, because the philosophy, the system, and the game of capitalistic white supremacy racism is predicated on the creation, maintenance, and expansion of a permanent underclass.
That is right.
And I'm glad I got my brother, Brother Key Jackson on tonight, and we talked and we collaborated on the cryptocurrency, and he now understands, he's learning a lot about the various other cryptos that are out there. And he knows, as well as I know, and you and other people on the call, that we now got an opportunity to tap in.
Yep.
But hell, our people so damn consumer driven that they don't even see the opportunity, right? And like right now that the crypto prices are down, you better start trying to buy, bro.
That's right. As much as you can of the right ones. I've been meaning to ask you this a few times, and you've mentioned it just now, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask you the terminology, the verbiage of the philosophy, the system, and the game of capitalistic white supremacy racism. You authored that description, right?
Yes, sir. That came from the creator and the ancestors brought that through.
Dig it. How did you come up with that to get to the point where you said, okay, this is it. It is a philosophy, it is a system, it is a game for capitalistic white supremacy. How did you come to that conclusion for that specific title? Because it is on point and it's everything.
Yeah. So of course it starts in Shreveport with my experiences coming up in the hood.
Yeah.
And my leadership, learning, how to think early. And so once I get to Xavier, University of New Orleans, Xavier's curriculum was such that no matter what your major was, everybody had to study 2 semesters of theology, 2 semesters of philosophy, and a semester of ethics. And so that's when the light came on 36 years ago this year in my first theology class, Intro to Religious Studies. So that's when, the critical thinking part happened. And so the next year in my first, my ethics class, which was taught by our philosophy department chairman, Dr. Harold Lefevre, it was in that class that it all came together. And so I was in the class, I had an A in the class, and the last day of the class, everybody's talking, and we had just finished studying a whole semester of all of these 18th century romanticists, these people who were coming up with these theories and philosophies, and Wordsworth, Keats, Longfellow, Thoreau. And on the last day of the class, Dr. Lefevre said, all of this semester, all of them are wrong.
That's right.
And I look, I'm like, everybody else just talking, and I'm like, raise my hand, say, Dr. Lefevre, did you just say all of the philosophers we studied were wrong? And he said, yeah. So he could see the befuddlement on my goddamn face. And I said, why in the hell would we spend the whole semester studying these guys if their philosophies were wrong? And this white man liberated me from white supremacy at that moment. He said, so you can develop your own philosophy. I said, God dang, you mean to tell me these white folks just thought about something, wrote it on paper, put it in a book, and we're here discussing this 200 years later as if it were fact? So that was it. So now I got it in my head. So I was 18, 19 at the time. So from that point up until about, I came up with this concept like 99, 2000. So I gone through some corporate And I had come back here as a pharmaceutical rep, left corporate, and then started working. And then it was like, it hit me. I already started teaching my empowerment workshop with the 6 pillars of empowerment, but the philosophy system in the game came about a decade later, having gone through all of these experiences in Shreveport. And it just kind of like the totality of all of that came together. And what I learned too, Tamani, was I said, I really now get why liberal arts education, although Du Bois and Booker T debated this, I really do get why it still is necessary to have a liberal arts education, because had I gone to a vocational based school, I wouldn't have gotten it, right?
Right.
But they would have been focused on theology, philosophy, and ethics. So because Xavier focused on that, everything I do, my degree is marketing economics. Somebody, every damn day that I come out of my door, guess what I'm dealing with? Philosophy, theology, and ethics. Every day.
Okay.
Also with my discipline of marketing, economics, and finance, but I'm dealing with these concepts. So along with those things and my genealogy, because I started doing my genealogy research, and I'm just blessed to have been born into a genealogical structure that I had some gangsta-ass ancestors, you know?
Yeah.
And so my spiritual and cultural connection to them have kind of ushered all this stuff in together.
Wow. Okay, cool. All right, last question. Do you think, because you were, I'm not sure if it was last week, I think it was last week, or we were having a conversation, and you were laughing at the whole idea that these people are actually like people who are against critical race theory, they're in an uproar that this thing is going to be taught, it's going to take over, and you're going to teach white kids that they're bad, black kids that they can't do nothing, blah, blah, blah. So it's all kind of ridiculous, the whole conversation that in this country, in America, you're going to debate if race is an underlying issue and our motivation for everything. So do you think this whole critical race theory conversation discussion, do you think this is a distraction for something? Because it kind of came out of nowhere, now it's everywhere, and for me the whole thing is kind of ridiculous.
No, it's not a distraction. What the Republicans are doing is they're heading this off right now.
Okay.
Because what has happened with the whole George Floyd, so you got to understand the underlying thing that's going on. George Soros and the other plutocrats who want to usher in a different type of economic and political system outside of capitalism, they are funding these homosexual activists. And within this dynamic, they're pushing certain philosophy. And they're riding the coattails of race and racism, and now undergirding race and racism with homosexuality, transgenderism, all of that. So it's kind of like the race and racism, this whole police brutality and violence murder thing, it is like you just talked about the guy who was hung, right?
Yep.
Now, that's one of the latest, you know, this don't happen every day, but it happens. And when it happens, they're going to blow it out of proportion. I mean, trust me, it needs to be focused on.
Sure.
I say blow it out of proportion, meaning we just had a dude murdered here in Shreveport behind the goddamn library on Tuesday.
Okay.
In broad daylight.
Hmm.
So now what's going to happen, they're going to jump on this tape. And they're now going to make police brutality, violence, race this big thing. While undergirding that, they're putting in that's the Trojan horse, and they're riding in homosexuality, transgenderism, all of these other things. So since the Negro preacher has been compromised by the Democratic Party, and they ain't gonna call out these immoralities, these unethical things, guess who is willing to call them out? Republicans. Evangelical.
Yeah.
So now the spin masters who look like us, who are tokens for the Republican Party, they have justification to now hit on these particular things. And so this now brings us to where we're at within the overall dynamic. So critical race theory is a real discussion, and the Republican Party sees what they're doing, so they're blowing this up to knock it out the water before it even takes shape, because the Democrats are trying to put it into the school system and whatnot, but it's not specifically about race. You see?
Okay.
Because it's the inroad to now discussing homosexuality and everything else, which they've already started putting homosexuality education in elementary school.
Yeah, and you can actually see it with I was blown away when I learned that this this organization, I think it's NAMBLA, the National Organization of Man Boy Love, something like that. It's a yeah. They are serious, and they are making progress with trying to make it legal to have sex with boys.
Hey, bro.
You know, and I'm like, man, I always thought that the whole NAMBLA thing was just an outlier of people who, I don't know, man, but when I saw that, and they are bold with it.
And that's why, and guess who gives them cover? The Democrats.
The Democrats.
So that's why our people, a lot of them are rolling with, even if they don't say so publicly, they're rolling with the Republican agenda, because the Republicans are rolling with what they say is a conservative agenda, but it's all a game too, because they are homosexuals themselves. They're just promoting conservatism while behind the scenes doing something else.
Oh yeah.
The Democrats are saying, hey, we homos, we roll with the game.
and if you're paying attention, you can see, because the Republican leadership, I mean, they've been caught doing the same thing with the Democratic people with money. So it's like they all go to the same parties.
They all go to the Hey bro. This thing here so gangster, bro.
It is interwoven, man.
So again, those first three pillars.
Yep.
You don't have those. I mean,
you through.
Really, you're gonna kill yourself right now. To be honest.
You done. All right. Last question. You get to give everybody one takeaway from tonight's show. If you could only give them one thing that they could take away and keep with them for the rest of their lives, what would that one thing be?
The exceptional Negro is a myth. And this is one of the, as I have studied these, and trust me, I got 60 PhDs in niggerology, niggermetrics, niggerosis, crackatology, crackerosis. I studied the Negro and I studied his pale skin. And I do have to tip my hat to these white folks. I'm not going to lie.
No doubt. No doubt.
Because, bro, to put a concept like this together, man, and it's like, no matter what I try to do until I get the money, status, and materialism, to teach these Negroes how complex this is, it's like, boom. So today, I was having a conversation with one of my colleagues, Willie Bradford, former city councilman, and he said he was having a conversation with a former nice Klansman here in Shreveport who used to be a union person, Mr. Charlie Davis, and he was a good old white boy. And he said they got into a big verbal altercation at the restaurant. And listen to what Willie said that white dude told him. This is what former Councilman Willie Bradford told me today. We've been working together since 1995. He said Charlie Davis told them in their goddamn face. He said it's easy to buy you Negro. He said we can buy y'all at any given time. We can make y'all do whatever we want to do.
He actually said that.
He told these Negroes this in their goddamn face. He said they can do it any goddamn way, and he ain't lying. See, because without spirituality and organic right culture,
that's right.
You don't have the armor to protect you.
And you gonna fall prey to the highest bidder.
Okay, so learn that the exceptional Negro is but a myth. Listen, man, no matter what kind of skills the Creator and the ancestors have bestowed upon me, I don't consider myself to be exceptional. I know I got skills. I know my mind operates on a different level than most of my people, but I'm just a grassroots brother who got skills and whatnot. And whatever is exceptional about me, my job is to leverage those resources and help bring back to the people.
Yep.
That's where I'm at with this. But understand, although it is a myth, these niggas really believe in this, brother.
Mm-hmm.
They believe in this now.
Yeah.
Don't ever think that they don't. This is real. They believe in the divine nine. They believe in the acquisition of the money, status, and materialism for individualistic gain.
Yep.
And we, those of us who are about Afrocentric collectivism, we got to leverage the money, status, and materialism so that we can change the paradigm, so we can change the narrative.
Yeah, because without that, they're not gonna listen to you, because that really is their guide: money, status, and materialism.
God,
yeah. So it's like the analogy you gave me. If you got two people in the two groups of people in the airport, on one wing, you got the grassroots black hybrid saying the right things, got the understanding, got the historical perspective, but $0. And on the other side of the airport, you got Jay-Z, you got Beyonce, you got Oprah, ain't saying nothing about grassroots empowerment, but they got the money, status, and materialism. Where the people gonna go? They're gonna go to the south where the people with the money at. And that's true. That is true every day, all day, man, which is another reason why our existence is so important. So with that concludes tonight's show. I'm gonna open this thing up for questions and answers. I've been having some serious internet issues, so I can't do what I normally do with the screen. So if anyone has a question or comment for Brother Craig, please unmute your phones, your mics, and ask your question if anyone has any Brother
You
Naru.
already
There you go.
know.
Cool.
You
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
know I'm in here, bro. You
All
already
right.
know I'm
I
in
can't
here.
tell, man, because my screen has been freezing up, so I really can't. I can't even see you, brother. But go ahead.
Man, are you on the Ethernet or Wi-Fi? What's going on, bro?
Man, my brother, my Ethernet cable is plugged in.
Dang,
It's
man.
plugged in. I actually checked it, so I don't know what's going on, man.
Man, they trying to stop something over there, bro. They trying to shut it down.
It could be.
What you got on there, brother Naru? I like
Oh, all respect due, man. It ain't nothing but a little California thing. You know what we do.
California love.
Hey, man. Now, brother Craig, earlier in the show, you mentioned that the white mindset could only be changed by the creator. Now, I have to say that sounded like a little religiosity to me, bro. Can you please elaborate on that? What you meant by that? Because I was a little taken aback by that one. Break that one down for me.
because their nature, that's their nature. And so there are certain things that we're not going to be able to do. There are some decent white folks who will follow our lead to some degree, but in terms of the majority of white folks, their nature is anti-us. It's anti-spirituality. That's their nature. So it's just like, in order for the lion to stop eating the goddamn gazelle, yeah, we can't. That's the damn lion's nature.
Yep, that's real talk. So what I'm asking is, so do you think that that's a possibility that the creator is going to change? Well, that's why I wanted you to clarify.
That's why I said that. That would be. I'm not even pontificating about that.
That's what I thought. I want you to clarify that.
See, Martin Luther King believed that he could change this crap. You see, he believed that so-called God had given him the ability, if they could just see our pain and us getting our ass whooped, they would change. No, hell no.
They seen it. They used to bring their kids to watch it. What you mean if they seen it?
When you hear me say that, Naru,
that's right.
I'm saying that only the creator could transform their asses. That ain't even a thought that I even had.
Right.
And even if they start coming to my empowerment workshops, and they started saying, "Oh, we change," I still ain't gonna believe you, pumpkin, because your litmus test. See, this is why white folks can't never trick me. Never, they can't trick me. You know why they can't trick me? Because their standard is John Brown.
Oh, there it is. and that is how you know if they are serious.
That's right.
Because John Brown was serious.
Yeah, I feel
John
that.
Brown goes around the country killing up white folks.
Yeah, she did. Yes, he
So,
did.
so if you're telling me that Martin Luther King your standard, I already know you. But that's what I'm saying. I'm Naru in terms of they didn't even know where I'm at. Now if the creator transform you and you start doing some John Brown stuff, okay, cool. But other than that, hey bro, we can't even have that conversation.
That's all right. All right, that was it for me tonight. I like that green cup too, man. What you got up in there? What you sipping in that green cup, bro?
Scissor. All right. So does anybody else have a question or comment for Brother Craig before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, hey, Brother Craig, hey, excellent dialogue and discussion. My question is, how should we view Juneteenth and the lightning speed?
Woo! Boy, that's a great question there, brother Mike.
Repeat his question, Craig. I didn't hear the whole question. What did he say?
Brother Mike, you muted. Open up your mic again.
Okay. How should we view the lightning speed of the legislation for Juneteenth, national holiday? Not only that, signed almost the same day, Biden got on his knees to Miss, I forgot her name, and then the following day they made it the start of the holiday.
Hey,
How
bro.
can we do this? Some of us will eat this like mama's cream of wheat and toast and juice in the morning.
Yep.
Hey, bro. That's why I love you, Xavier. Right? You my partner for life. Look, let me tell you something. Tomorrow I got to be on this show with Judge Joe Brown and my good colleague Dr. Carl Mack. And Carl Mack, Tamani, that's the light-skinned brother who I sent you the video with him discussing Juneteenth, the same question.
Okay, right, yeah. Sharp brother.
I got to call in and participate in that show. But Mike, that's a great question. And look, man, look here, bro. I've been bringing this out for over 2 decades. While I understand Juneteenth from a Texas and Louisiana thing, it is a Texas and Louisiana thing. It ain't no goddamn United States thing, okay? It ain't no United States thing. It is a false narrative because it did not end chattel slavery. The passage and the ratification of the 13th Amendment is what ended chattel slavery. So this is yet another gangster-ass move by the Democratic Party to pacify Negroes.
Yep.
And they so goddamn dumb, they can't even see it. So here you got a president who done pimped y'all to vote for him because they created Donald Trump, because Donald Trump works for the Democratic Party. He ain't no goddamn Republican. So they passed an Asian hate bill, but they ain't passed a goddamn thing for Negroes.
Nothing.
No damn reparations, no damn nothing. But goddamn Juneteenth, they rush. Oh, we gonna do Juneteenth. That ended slavery. You a goddamn lie. And then you say that it's not because of the 13th Amendment, but it's because of the Emancipation Proclamation, which still allowed for the goddamn border states to have slaves. So how the hell? Now I'm glad that they did it, Mike, because I could announce to this group here what we're about to usher in next year, 2022, is the first ever Emancipation Day celebration or observance, I should say. And that's going to be done right here, starting in Shreveport, Louisiana. But we're going to get the legislation passed. We're already working on the legislation to now have Louisiana be the first state to recognize Emancipation Day, February the 1st, 2022. And it's going to be a two-part thing. It's going to be centered around the passage of the 13th Amendment on January the 31st and the ratification of the 13th Amendment on December the 6th, 1865. And it ain't to, I don't want people to stop celebrating Juneteenth, but we're going to bring some historical clarity. Yeah, they found out on June 19, 1865 in Galveston, and the word spread in certain parts of Louisiana, but it wasn't no damn 2.5 years late, goddammit. It was just a couple of months late. But was it really late? Just being 5.5 months late? Hell no, because it wasn't no damn Yahoo, no Gmail, it wasn't no phone, it wasn't none of that, right? So, and Ken is absolutely correct. Some of the same white folks who passed that are working against your damn voting rights.
Well,
I mean, this is just
yeah, and we also have to keep in mind that nothing has ever been done under the guise of doing something for Black people that didn't have underlying motives, other things attached to it, or some serious pushback in another direction. They never just do something because it's the right thing to do. Never.
Exactly. Exactly. So great question, Brother Mike, and it is, woo! You know, because I mean, I got Texas state history in my bloodline as it relates to you know, this whole thing in East Texas, man. So I'm connected, but I'm gonna always tell the truth, man. I'm just gonna keep it a buck with my people, and we just, man, people who you believe know, brother, they don't know.
They don't know. They don't know. All right. So does anyone else have a question or comment for Brother Craig before we close this thing out? Any questions or comments going once, going twice? All right, Brother Craig, closing remarks?
Well, I already said my Bob Marley thing tonight.
Say it again. Close us out.
I got one last.
Okay.
Just a comment. They had the Poor People's Campaign, the start of it in D.C. Jesse and the Reverend out of North Carolina,
Barber.
That's the
Barber.
Cool. Now, but Reverend Barber, don't give me disrespect. I'm just real quick. We may have to continue this. The difference between the effort before and the one that King tried to do.
Game, brother. Nothing but game, brother.
Okay.
Nothing but game.
Okay, got you.
Nothing but game, and Reverend Barber needs to sit his ass down. And you, man, I'm so sick of these Negroes playing these games with our people, man. They pimping, they pimping 63 King. They pimping. Listen, man. I love any person who was willing to die for our people. But I'm sorry to tell you, Martin Luther King didn't have a damn near clue as to how gangster this game is. And even when he found out how gangster it was, he still ended up rolling with the false narrative that he started out with, because it's so much politics involved in this bullshit, man. If you're not operating spiritually and culturally, brother, you can't represent the interests of Black people. Malcolm was by far the most genuine cat to fight for our folks, man. I'm just gonna be honest in terms of the national, international scene. And for brother Aki El Haj El Malik El Shabazz, our brother, but he was naive. As much as I love Malcolm, and so what you have, Mike, within this poor people's thing and Dr. Barber, they're pushing homosexuality through that. Because the white chick who rose with him, the so-called minister, she's a homo. They came to Shreveport with that bullshit. And it's just sad, bro. It's the games that they're playing. All I'm gonna tell you like this, Mike. In the next few months, my art project will be ready, and it's a $5 million deal, and my nonprofit will net about $2 million. Mike, they better not let it happen, bro. They better let it happen. It's over, bro. Cause you talking about I'm gonna unleash on their ass some gangster ass corporate shit that they're not even prepared for. And everybody on this call is a part of that team. And we're gonna maneuver in a unique and very clever way to do what we gotta do. And Mike, I know I still gotta call you about the real estate in Shreveport and Bass. I ain't forgot about you. But as it relates to old boy in North Carolina, Barber, straight trash, man, straight trash. Nothing but pseudo intellectualism, and that's where we're at right now.
All right, Brother Craig, close us out.
I want to just thank everybody for participating. I love this. I always tell Tamani, don't worry about the goddamn numbers. Don't worry about the numbers. We're laying the foundation for the future of our people. We'll get the numbers. We iron out, our delivery. Me and Tamani work good together as it relates to stage. But just know everything that me and this brother and BGN is doing is really about the business of the liberation, empowerment, and advancement of our people. And I thank everybody for taking time out of their busy schedule to listen to our dialogue.
All right, on that note, always remember that no one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything will get done. And absolutely, always remember that nothing is more sacred than the empowerment and the freedom of Black people. So with that, you guys have a wonderful evening and God bless. And I apologize for my technical issues. I have no idea what's going on. Y'all have a good one.
All right.
Are you everybody? All right.
Yes,
Take care.
From that point